Hey, didn't see you there. Welcome to the fucking booty base. In today's video, I'm going to be dissecting and revealing what I believe is one of the most underrated booty building exercises of all time, the Bulgarian split squat. But to film this video, I think I might need a little bit of help. Badass babes, assemble! Oh, hey long bottom, how the bloody fucking end are ya? She's fucking good. Now, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I have brought along with my magical powers Miss Alana Longbottom down here because she is the current booty-based Bulgarian split squat queen. Now, this girl right here can do 25 constant tension reps of Bulgarian split squats with 25 kilos in each hand. I don't even really know if I can do that. No, I can do that.
No, I'll keep time.
Okay, whatever you say. Now, there's a reason why Alana Longbottom can do that so well, and it's because she has immaculate technique and she has drilled her technique to make sure that she can get really strong at this very awkward and difficult movement. So in today's video, we're going to be demonstrating the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when they're doing their Bulgarian split squats, exactly how you can fix them immediately so you can become a badass Bulgarian split squat queen just like Lana, and we're also going to give you 3 bonus tips on how to become an even better Bulgarian split squat badass babe at the end of the video. So stick around, ladies, and let's get into the show. Mistake number 1 is having a foot too close to the box. Now, this isn't inherently wrong, but if Alana goes through this movement, you'll see that she's getting a lot of forward traction here from her knee. Keep going from you, Alana. This is body weight. Don't act like this is fucking hard for you. And the closer your foot is to the box, the more you're gonna feel it in your quads. Now, that's not bad if you wanna focus on hitting your quads, but a lot of you ladies following my channel probably wanna be targeting your glutes more. So we wanna take a big step out to the point where our shin is pretty much gonna be vertical. Well, thereabouts, go a little bit further out for me. Well, you know what feels good for you. Go down. And that is going to be a much more effective position when you're setting up your Bulgarian split squats, and a lot of the time it just feels a little bit more comfortable once you get used to it as well. So, foot close, quads. Foot far away, glutes. Mistake number 2, which makes you work your glutes less and gets you a really tight pull through your hip flexors, is staying too upright with the movement. So Alana, if you do a few reps and stay really up like this, you'll notice that yes, she's far away from the bench, and yes, she's coming down and stretching the glute, but if you come around here for me, you'll see that her back leg being on this box and her body upright means that she is now getting an elongated stretch on her hip flexor. Come down for me, Alana. So as she goes down, you very likely be feeling more of a stretch through here. Can you feel that, Alana? Yeah, the more upright you are, the more you're turning this into a loaded stretch for this leg. So to fix that, we're gonna be just leaning forward from the hip. So now, as we descend down, we're not gonna be getting anywhere near as much of that stretch because we've shortened the hip flexor. Come back around for me, Jared. You'll also notice that not only have we shortened the hip flexor and taken it out of the movement, but we've also now got an additional stretch on the glutes. So the more forward we lean, as we come down, we get to stretch that glute all the way down in that deep position, and that's exactly what we should be trying to focus on with our Bulgarian split squats, is that big loaded stretch. So big foot out away from the bench, and make sure that you lean your body forward to stretch the glutes and stop stretching the hip flexor. Tip number 3 is all about this pesky little foot back here and putting too much pressure in this leg. You see, we've already fixed our first 2 tips, and now we're far away from the bench and we're leaning forward. Now, to be honest with you, a lot of the time, leaning forward actually helps to lessen this mistake because we're putting more pressure into our front foot by getting that forward lean. But you can still get it wrong by putting too much pressure as you come down. So Alana, really jig that heel, that foot into the box. And the thing is, with this one, you can't really demonstrate it because it's more of just your body distribution, but you can see that the bench here and the box is starting to crease up and it's getting that little bit of pressure around it because of the pressure she's putting in her foot. So 2 things happen here. We get less tension and less pressure on the working leg, and again, we get more tension on that stretch of the non-working leg, which is not what we want. So again, your foot here is just there to tippy toe on the bench so you can lean all the way forward, and you should almost be able to do a rep like this where you actually take your foot off. Yeah, bring it all the way off for me and then up. Now that's more of a skater squat. Go one more just because you're a badass. Down, control. And again, you can see the movement pattern is almost exactly the same, and she's barely even holding on with that foot. So remember, it's just a little bit of a tippy toe to make sure that we're effectively working the leg on the ground and not putting too much pressure here. Mistake number 4 also comes down to our weight distribution and is a little bit hard to demonstrate. However, what you want to avoid is thinking about going down with your knee and thinking of this as a knee dominant movement. So Alana, do it incorrectly and think about your knee traveling forward and going down. As you can see, her heel's starting to rise a little bit and the movement and her momentum is going in that direction. And really, that's not what I want you to think about when you're doing Bulgarian split squats. Instead, I want you to think about leaning forward and sinking your hip back and down and then coming up. Now, as long as your knee isn't actually traveling in a backwards direction, do a few more reps for me, Alana. As you can see, it's coming forward just a little bit, but it's not actually going to be drifting back, but she's thinking about sinking this in this direction, stretching and loading the hip, boom, and then driving up. One thing I like to do when I'm actually teaching and correcting the girls who get this wrong and drive their knee forward is I put my hand here on the back of their leg and I actually bring them down. So think about getting this back leg to the ground, and that generally will help you to fix the problem and make sure that this hip is going in the right direction. Nice. Tip number 5 is a tip which I have shown seasoned veteran bodybuilders and booty-based babes, and they have immediately told me that it completely changed the game. People who have only ever felt Bulgarian split squats in their quad started doing this and immediately brought on their glutes. Now, it's a very forgotten and very overlooked cue, and that is to grip the ground and drive your knee out. See, a lot of the time people are thinking about everything that's going up and down and they forget that the glutes actually play a role in external rotation and stabilizing the hip. So when you do it, I want you to think about monkey gripping the ground and I want you to think about screwing your knee outwards. What I do is I tell the girls when they're doing it to drive their knee out into my hand, and now go for me, Alana. Down we go. And then I give them that little bit of additional resistance to actually fight into. Now this is very closely mimicking exactly what would be if there was a band on her leg and pulling it inwards. So as long as she's driving that leg out, while my hand's there, she's gonna be getting additional resistance into external rotation, which is going to stabilize and activate her glute even more. Could you feel the difference?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you could. You can already feel your butt burning up anyway because we've been doing so many goddamn Bulgarian split squats. So, remember guys, grip the ground and drive that knee outwards and you will immediately feel that glute starting to kick on a lot harder. Alrighty guys, well, they are our 5 main tips to help you master the Bulgarian split squat. And now we've got through those and Alana's butt has burned up, we've decided to swap sides and show you our additional 3 bonus tips to help you master the movement even more, and also ways in which you can actually make things harder if you might not have the weights available. So, the first one is to come on in, and if you're finding it hard to stabilize with your movement, which so many people do when they first start doing this movement, is to have a pole or something you can hold on to just to give you that little bit of added stability as you perform through your reps. Let's get down for it, Alana. Beautiful. So again, you'll notice that Alana has her hand on the pole here, but she's not really using it for a spot up and down. She's using it to stabilize her body to make sure that she can actually perform the movement efficiently and effectively. Now, this is a great cue. Keep going for me, girl. This is a great cue for beginners who need that additional stability to make sure they can actually get the movement right. And also, it's a fantastic cue for advanced lifters who want to start lifting really heavy and they want to hold a dumbbell in one hand and they need that additional little bit of stability to make sure they can get through the set. Because we have to ask the question, do we want to be training our stability or do we want to be loading the muscle with the heaviest weight we can and creating as much tension as possible? The answer is the second one. So hold a pole whether you're a beginner and trying to get the movement right, or whether you're advanced and you want to go heavier but you're finding that the weight is making you shift from side to side. Tip number 2 is which hand to hold the dumbbell in if you are only going to be holding one hand, and the answer is hold it in the leg that's actually back on the box. And the reason being is it's going to be out of the way. That's probably the most, yeah, come on girl, get down and work, get down and stand around and doing goddamn nothing. It's going to be out of the way. If you hold it in the other hand, it's just a little bit out of center and it just doesn't feel quite right. And there's no right or wrong way to do this, but in my opinion, this feels much better. Technically speaking, we're also actually going to be getting a little little bit of what we call an offset movement. So this hip has to stabilize harder to make sure we stay up because this weight's trying to pull us across in this direction. So there is a minimal benefit as to why you should hold it there, but in reality, it's just more comfortable. Now, as you get stronger and stronger, you can either just hold a heavier dumbbell in one hand or shift towards fucking the pole off and then holding a dumbbell in both hands, because I can tell you right now, you do fucking 50 kilos, but imagine holding 50 kilos in one hand. Oh, hell no. So once you get super jacked, hold a dumbbell in each hand and keep on getting the fucking reps. Now, let me tell you a little something, guys. Bodyweight Bulgarian split squats are pretty fucking hard as is. But maybe you're getting really strong at them and you don't have access to weight. Well, that's where tip number 3 comes in. And I'm going to be showing you 2 different ways in which you can make things harder without needing weight. The first one is to do an additional quarter at the bottom. So Alana coming all the way down, making sure we get that full depth back knee to the ground, and then add an additional quarter at the bottom of the rep when the glutes are down on their peak tension. Let's go again, down, up a quarter, back down, and then all the way up. Now, again, we're just going to be getting more tension when we're down on that stretch. But rather than just adding more tension, we can also come through and then look to increase the range of motion. So now we're coming into a deficit Bulgarian split squat. And again, if you're going to do this, make sure that you actually get all the way back down. So Alana lean forward and then get all the way down nice and deep, back knee touching the ground. And don't worry about the quarter yet, just go all the way down deep, 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 deep. And then up, and again, the movement looks exactly the same, but now we're getting a deeper stretch onto the glute and onto the quad and onto our adductors. And if you really want to fucking step it up, you can do this tasty, fucking really hard variation and come all the way down for a deficit 1 1/4 Bulgarian split squats and get the Hannah Montana approach, which is the fucking best of both worlds. Getting fucking down low and doing extra quad toe. That's exactly what it is. So again, guys, I could show you a million other ways in how to make that. You know what? We'll just do one more. Wait right here, Drake. One more.
Extra bands.
If you really want to make it fucking harder and you have bands, then those 2 variations made the rep harder when we're at the bottom of the movement. But this one here is going to make it harder when we're actually at the top, and it's going to actually burn the quads a little bit more. So loop your hands through for me, Alana, if you don't mind. So get that loop. Boom, you have to put the band under a box or fucking something, and then elevate that back leg, and now we're getting more tension when we're actually coming up towards the top. So it mitigates at the bottom, driving up, and this really burns those quads. You still get that deep stretch, that extra range of motion, but now we're getting a really consistent burn of tension through the entire range because of the extra range of motion and the additional tension at the top, where ordinarily we're not really getting anything, and then the weight's actually starting to dissipate. We're adding that additional tension, burning the quads, and holy bajolly guacamole, I used to do these and in the 28-day isolation challenge, holy shit, it's not fun. It's not fun. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap. I could make a 60-minute video showing you other techniques and variations of loading patterns, but I'm not gonna do that today. So instead, if you have any other questions about how to perform Bulgarian split squats, well, ask them in the comment section so we can have a conversation below. And also, remember guys, Bulgarian split squats and the way that I demonstrated from today, hopefully should get you to feel your glutes working, but you definitely should still feel your quads. A lot of the time people are like, oh, I feel it in my quads, what's going wrong? Nothing's going wrong. You're working your quads, and it's a very quad heavy exercise as well. Some people feel more quads, some will feel more glutes, but hopefully this is going to help you to just master the movement and get really strong and progressively overload it over time, because even if you can't feel your glutes working, they definitely are, and you should still get motherfucking strong and jacked at this exercise. And ladies and gentlemen, make sure you stick a motherfucking around, because in 2021, I'm taking over YouTube. I'm coming on over, I'm building all the motherfucking bodies on the tube. So, before you get out of here, you better make sure you do me a goddamn favor. Oh, you already know. I want you to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the motherfucking bell. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what they say. YouTube! Scrub it up, YouTube!